look up in the sky. It's Kate.
And Kevin.
Welcome to
And not a
Horrorwood.
bird or a plane.
No, it's just Horrorwood. Welcome to Horrorwood.
Superman edition.
Yes. That intro, I wasn't as smooth as I wanted to be on that, but
I
that's
love
okay.
it, Kate. I think it's perfect. It's always perfect.
You want to know what else is perfect? I didn't tell you about these when you came in. So apparently, Selena Gomez not only makes music, but also Oreos. There is a Selena Gomez Oreo edition.
I want that. Have you had them?
Yeah, they're in my cabinet downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
They're chocolate and cinnamon, and they are so good.
Ooh.
But here's the thing. I know it's probably some limited edition thing, and Oreos is going to get rid of them. So Oreos, if you're listening, keep the Selena Gomez Oreos. They're so good.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I remember they did a Lady Gaga when Chromatica came out.
Really?
Yeah.
I missed that.
It was a pink Oreo cookie with green icing.
Oh, yeah, I missed that train. What's also fun is on the Oreo, instead of the Oreo logo, it's headphones.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cute.
I'm excited.
Yeah. You know what I'm excited about?
What?
We have 2 new Patronians.
Patronians.
All right. So first shout out we have is Ken.
Ken. Hey, Ken.
Just Ken, no last name, and that's Knuff.
Knuff. I love that. It makes me think of the Aqua song, the Barbie, where she's like, "Hi, Barbie. Hi, Ken." That's my hi to Ken.
Hello, Ken. Thank you so much. He's one of our newest Misfit Murderinos.
Welcome in.
And we so appreciate it. He joined on the yearly tier, which we love.
Oh, that's amazing.
We love the monthly tiers too. We love all the tiers. So just like whatever you're doing, we're loving it.
Pick a tier and get in it.
And we have one more, which is Hannah. Hannah, thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. We super duper appreciate it.
We love you. Thank you.
Speaking of Patreon.
Yeah.
And since we are currently in pre-October officially, I think we need to start gearing up for the fall gift package. If you have been a Patreon member for a while now, then you're probably aware that every October we send out a little something, a little present to you. If you are signed up on our Misfit Murderino tier.
Yes.
If you're one of the accomplices, you don't get the package. So now's a really good time to upgrade, if you know what I'm saying. Winky, winky.
Wink face.
So, yes, if you join our Patreon as a Misfit Murderino by September 1st, it has to be September 1st because, like, we have to know how much to get of everything.
Right. Yeah.
I don't really know what we're going to include in this year's package. I have some ideas, but I don't
Kate and I are
really
going to sit down and speculate wildly about what we want to send you this year.
Yes. But if you want one of those, again, you got to sign up by September 1st on the Misfit Murderino tier. You can do the yearly, you can do the monthly, whatever you want to do. If you're an accomplice, you can upgrade. And additionally, we need you to opt in to receiving gifts. That's the only way that we know what your address is. If you got a gift last year and you're still a Misfit Murderino, we have your address. But if you opted out of gifts or something and when you joined this year, we won't be able to send you anything.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately.
So get that address.
Well, and head on over to patreon.com/horrorwoodpodcast.
Hey.
To sign on up.
Sign on up. Sign on up. It's speaking of pre-October. Stores already have Halloween stuff out.
I know.
I am here for it.
I'm obsessed.
Okay, Kevin, I almost texted you this because, I mean, I didn't want to text you while you were on vacation.
You can, absolutely.
But TJ Maxx has a ghost pillow holding an espresso martini.
Okay, well, I guess we have to go to TJ Maxx.
I showed that to Matt, and he was like, that was literally created just for you.
Yeah,
so,
that's you.
Gonna have to get that.
Ghost with a martini.
If they still have them. If not, somebody let me know where TJ Maxx is that has those in stock because I've got to have that ghost pillow. Anyway, Yeah, this is going to be like a lighter, more fun episode.
Oh, speaking of Halloween.
Oh.
Can I tell you about being in Sleepy Hollow?
That's right. You went to Sleepy Hollow.
I don't know why I started that. I went to. No, I spent a day. I was in New York City seeing some shows, and then I spent a day in Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow.
How fun.
It was so much fun. Talk about Halloween stuff. It's everywhere.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and they're in Sleepy Hollow. Their street signs are orange, and they have the black lettering. It's so cute.
Cool.
It's so pretty. My friend Chelsea and I, where did we start? We started with lunch in Tarrytown. We went to a gift shop, bought a gorgeous Headless Horseman t-shirt. I'll show you later.
Nice.
And then we drove up to the cemetery, the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery.
Oh, you sent me one of those pictures.
I know, yeah. And we saw Washington Irving's grave. He wrote the legend of Sleepy Hollow. I didn't see the Bronze Lady, which is like this cursed statue that is said to cry and actual tears. She was it's a huge cemetery, and it's up on a hill. So I was like, I'm okay. I'll come back later. We saw Huldah the Witch's grave. I say that in air quotes because she's not really buried there. It's just a kind of memorial to the legend of Huldah the Witch.
Gotcha.
And I was trying to remember everything that I had talked about in the episode, and my phone wasn't. I was loading my notes from that episode, like trying to read, and then like we came across this family, and I was like, "Oh, I'm looking for the witch grave. Have you seen it?" And they pointed me in the direction, and they're like, "Can you tell us about her?" And so I was like, I think a little bit."
Like, let me rack my brain.
Let me rack my brain. I was like, she was a witch. No, she wasn't an actual witch. She was a healer. American Revolution. She was between both sides helping people, when they got hurt. And then she was killed by British soldiers.
Ugh.
What else did we do? We went to the Phillipsburg Manor. It wasn't open, so we just saw the outside of it. We saw the Headless Horseman statue.
Oh, that's cool.
The bridge that Washington Irving talked about. There's a lot of markers of like, this is in Washington Irving's book. This is in the story. This is what he was talking about.
So you know what's going on.
So you know what's going on for sure. It was just so much fun. It felt very Halloween-y in July. Mm-hmm. I want to go back because nothing in the summer is really like poppin'. I think it's more fall time that it gets really beautiful and
I bet like the trees, I bet they're gorgeous.
Pictures look amazing, but they do a lot of tours.
Oh, cool.
So I'd love to go back sometime and do those tours. But yeah, I had a blast. It was so much fun.
Well, hopefully this episode is fun. I needed something very different from the Cambodian genocide because after 2 episodes of that,
Kate,
I just needed to get out of that.
Yeah.
And since Superman just opened, I thought this would be a good one to talk about.
Yay.
And we're going to go on a field trip.
We're going to the movies.
So we're recording this Saturday. If you're listening to this on the release day, Monday, just know that yesterday, Sunday, we went and saw it and did a little field trip, and we're going to post it on our Instagram.
Oh, yeah, you know it.
If you're not following us on Instagram, you should probably just go over there and follow us on Instagram.
At Horrorwood Podcast.
You were on it with all the links.
Yes, go.
So you might have heard about the Superman curse. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't believe in a Superman curse. It's kind of like the Saturday Night Live curse where they're like,
okay,
all these things happen to the Saturday Night Live cast members. When you have a product, and I'm talking about like SNL as a product, Superman as a product, that has a large number of people working on it, statistically, something bad is going to happen to at least one of them.
I want them to start with that on a TV show. Like, hey guys, this is a big group of people. We're all working together.
Something that's probably going to happen.
One of you is probably going to die.
Yikes. And when that product like Superman or SNL continues for literally decades, there's that many more people and then just that much more opportunity for something horrible to happen.
Yes, unfortunately.
It doesn't mean necessarily there's something supernatural at play, but
we walk that line, Kate.
It's more fun to think that there is.
I think so. I don't believe in the Superman curse, but I believe in Superman ice cream.
Ooh, nice. My mom, I was talking to her about this episode, and my mom's never listened to the podcast because she doesn't know how to get podcasts on her phone. And please no one tell her because there's some things that I want her to hear. But
yeah, my dad always says, I'm going to try to listen. And I'm like, you don't have to.
I think she might listen to this one because I was telling her a few things about like what I'm getting ready to talk about. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, that sounds really interesting. She said, did you know Dairy Queen is doing like a special Superman Blizzard and it looks pretty delicious. And I was like, don't get hooked on those.
Oh, damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're doing like a big thing. But yeah, I love Superman ice cream.
Me too.
So we're going to talk about some of the, this is a sharp turn, some of the tragedies and misfortunes that have affected those who've been involved with the Superman franchise.
Okay.
Starting with the creators themselves, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster.
Ooh.
Pop quiz.
Okay.
In which city did Jerry and Joe birth the creation of Superman?
Is it a U.S. city?
Yes.
Boston.
No.
New York?
No.
Los Angeles.
Oh my God. Okay, here's a clue. It's where much of the new Superman movie was filmed.
Houston. Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
Tell me.
It's where Matt's from.
Cleveland,
Ohio. There you go.
I would have never.
Really?
No, would have never guessed.
All right.
Is that something common among Superman? Is he in Cleveland?
Cleveland is a big old Superman city.
I had no idea.
Yeah, because it's where they created it.
Well, hallelujah.
Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster were both the children of Jewish immigrants.
Okay.
Jerry was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. Joe was born in Toronto. His family moved to Cleveland when he was about 10 years old. They met when they were in high school, when they were both like around 16. And they went to Glenville High School in Cleveland. So shout out to Glenville if you go there or have ever heard of it.
Hey, Glenview High School.
Glenville. Yep, there you go. Both of them were kind of shy and awkward. And I don't know about Joe, but Jerry hated school. He wrote a memoir, which was never published, but you can find the PDF online, and I'm going to link it, actually, where he talks about just how timid he was. He was bullied by other kids and by teachers. His teachers sucked.
That's awful. What decade was this?
So he was born in 1914. So we're talking
30s.
Well, he would have been an adult by then, but when he was in school, like we're talking late teens, early 20s. He talks about this one time in like first grade where he had to go to the bathroom. So he raised his hand and asked his teacher if he could go. And she was like, no, you can't leave the room. But like he really had to go. So he's trying to hold it. And finally he's like, I can't take this anymore. So he raises his hand again and she shouts at him, put your hand down. And he peed his pants.
Well, yeah. What else is going to happen?
Exactly. So of course all the other kids are pointing at him and laughing at him. And his teacher just started yelling at him. And she was like, you're a bad boy. Bad and disgusting. Get out and go home, you horrid boy.
What the fuck was wrong with this bitch?
And this is a teacher.
This is when teachers were like militarized, and awful people.
And she physically dragged him up from his chair and shoved him out of the classroom. He's like 6 years old.
Awful. I hope that teacher is dead, and I'm sure she is, because this was the 1920.
Yeah. So he hated school. Sorry, I'm going to have some water. Speaking of, someone commented online that I am unbearable to listen to and that I sound like I'm eating Elmer's glue with my mouth open. So I don't even know. I told Matt this, and I was like, what would that even sound like? And so for the afternoon, we were like, welcome to horror. He was like, you should print that comment out.
I think what a troll.
I'm gonna frame it, I think.
I love it. Hate comments. Let's embrace them.
I love it. It's like mean tweets.
Yeah.
So I apologize if you're getting an Elmer Glue vibe from this episode.
It boggles my mind, Kate, because you speak very clearly and very succinctly.
Know.
So
I don't know that I do.
I think you do. We're both not looking at each other going, rah, 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 rah. If you want a podcast of that, let us know.
Let us know. We'll hook you up. So Jerry loved writing, but that was really all he liked to do at school. He said, and this is a quote, "School did not enthrall me. I had not the slightest ambition to become a shining scholar. I didn't even care to become a dim scholar. when the grim business of cramming knowledge into one's skull got down to business, interest in arithmetic, geography, etc. just slid off my brain and oozed into a crack in the floor where it gradually evaporated.
What a beautiful discussion of school.
I love it.
I mean, exactly. Like,
just
name all that stuff.
Off my brain and oozed into a crack. I love that.
Amazing.
He skipped a lot of classes. He failed a lot of classes, had to go to summer school. It just wasn't his thing. Science fiction was his thing.
Yay.
And it turns out science fiction was also Joe Shuster's thing, only he was interested in illustrating.
Okay.
So the two teamed up and began creating comics together, with Jerry writing and Joe drawing. Jerry had a self-published science fiction magazine that he created, and Joe would often do the illustrations for it. Unfortunately, tragedy struck Jerry's family in June of 1932. His father, Michael, was at work at the men's store he owned when a person shoplifting punched Michael in the chest.
Ooh.
So hard that it caused him to have a heart attack, and he died.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Jerry was just 17 years old. Although he never states his dad's death as an impetus to create the Superman character, his wife Joanne would later say that she thinks it had a lot to do with it because early drawings of Superman show him saving a man who's being held at gunpoint, and the man reportedly looks a lot like Jerry's dad.
Oh, wow.
And it was very soon after his dad died that Jerry thought up the character. In a 1941 article in the Saturday Evening Post, he said, quote, "I am lying in bed counting sheep when all of a sudden it hits me. I conceive a character like Samson, Hercules, and all the strong men I ever heard tell of rolled into one, only more so. I hop right out of bed and write this down, and then I go back and think some more for about 2 hours, and get up again and write that down. This goes on all night at 2-hour intervals until in the morning I have a complete script."
Wow.
That morning, he ran over to his friend Joe's place. Joe only lived like 12 blocks away, so they're not that far from each other. And Jerry was like, "Bruh, new character idea. Let's go." So they immediately got to work fleshing out Superman. And they're teenagers, 17, 18 years old. Like, that's how young they were when they created this iconic character.
That's bananas.
Originally, Superman was a villain, which I did not know.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
And the two self-published a story called The Reign of the Superman in 1933 in that sci-fi magazine of theirs.
Okay.
They didn't coin the term Superman. That was already in the vernacular. Joe designed the look of Superman based on Jerry. That iconic pose with Superman's hands on his hips, that was something Jerry apparently always did. And when he was younger, Jerry had had dreams of being a reporter, which is why the shy, bespectacled Clark Kent works as a reporter. Jerry also being shy, also wearing glasses, wanting to be a reporter.
This story was very indicative of their experiences at the time.
And this is just like a little meet cute story. In 1935, Joe, he's the illustrator, answered an ad in the paper from a high school student named Yolin, but she mainly went by Joanne because her teachers couldn't pronounce Yolin. I mean, it's the same amount of syllables.
Your teachers, for God's sakes.
Her ad read, "Situation wanted, female artist model, no experience." Okay. She was looking for a way to make some money during the Great Depression, and I guess a friend of hers told her modeling was easy, so she was like, "All right, I'll put an ad in the paper."
I want to do that. I'm going to walk myself down to Lilith Street, which is an arts center.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, chunky late 30s gay looking for modeling work for drawing.
Zero experience.
No experience whatsoever. I'm just like laying on a chair and I'm like, "Look at me, I'm modeling." And everyone's like, "Stop moving."
I mean, you could probably have like a side hustle there.
I need a side hustle. So, watch out. You
Watch
don't know
out,
what you're going to see.
Joe was looking for someone to model the character of Lois Lane after. So he sees this ad and he's like, boom, you hired. Joe based the look of Lois Lane off of Joanne, and when Jerry wrote the Lois character, he drew from Joanne's own personality, saying she was, quote, "not only beautiful, but very smart and determined, and she had a lot of guts. She was a courageous person."
I like this Joanne.
Yolan or Joanne, but she went by Joanne for the rest of her life, so
okay,
I'm going to call her Joanne in this story.
100%.
Fast forward 13 years. By this point, Jerry was married and living in New York. Joanne was recently divorced and had moved around quite a bit, Boston, California, but eventually she settled in New York, and the two of them ran into each other at a costume ball fundraiser for cartoonists. Soon after, Jerry divorced his wife and married Joanne, and the two of them were together the rest of their lives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The model for Superman / Clark Kent married the model for Lois Lane.
Go figure.
I love it.
I'm obsessed.
Once Joe and Jerry established their Superman character, they pitched it to several newspaper editors. They were going all over the place. They wanted to get a recurring comic strip in a newspaper, but they kept getting turned down. They took their idea to a comic book publisher based here in Chicago, actually, who expressed a lot of interest, but he also eventually turned them down. Jerry was convinced that the reason they kept getting rejected was because they were unknown. So he decides that the only way to sell Superman was to dump his friend and creative partner and find a more established artist.
No.
Not a great way to do business, but that's what happened.
Okay, fuck.
But every artist he teamed up with would show the comic strips to their newspaper contacts, and every time they were rejected still. So Jerry's like, hey, Joe, remember when I low-key told you to fuck off because I wanted to work with someone more famous? Sorry about that. Want to team back up. Also, sorry, Mom, I just said the F word, so if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Fuck. I said it too. Sorry, Kate's mom.
The two did make amends, and they got back to work. In addition to Superman, they were working on other comics as well, and it was the other comics that got them work with their first comic magazine publishing company. But when the owner of that company, Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson, which is a mouthful.
That's a mouthful.
When he ran his business into the ground, he teamed up with a couple of guys to form what would become DC Comics.
DC Comics.
Pop quiz.
Okay.
What does DC stand for?
I have no clue. I really don't. I can speculate wildly.
Give me a couple of guesses.
Downright country. Double cartoons.
Keep going.
Davis Cantrell. I don't. Those are two last names of two famous people that I made up. Don Corleone.
Try Detective Comics.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's why I said that.
We'll see what stand for comics. I'm a fucking idiot sometimes.
So when we say DC Comics, we're saying Detective Comics. That's just a little. That's just a little something.
DC Comics, Detective Comics. Wow.
So Jerry and Joe started creating comics for Detective Comics.
Cool.
But it wasn't long before their former boss, Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson, ended up indebted to his new business partners at DC. So he ran his first business to the ground, the guys were working for.
Okay.
So he teams up with DC. Then he is really bad with money and ends up owing them a ton of money.
Oh my God.
So those partners bought Malcolm out and they were like, you got to go. But they did continue working with Joe and Jerry. So
that's
DC
nice.
kept them on.
Okay, cool. Sorry, Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson.
You gotta go. What's interesting is Malcolm wanted to publish Superman himself. And they had been trying everywhere.
Yeah.
And Malcolm was like, you know what? I'll publish it. But Joe and Jerry were both like, yeah, I don't know. You seem kind of bad at business.
You're not good at this, honey. Take a step back, sit down, take a few seats.
Yeah, we're going to hold on to it.
We're going to go
now.
with this big company that's... How is DC doing at the time? Is it popular?
I mean, it wasn't called DC at that time. It was National Allied Publishing or something like that.
Okay.
And they had other comics, but nothing major.
Okay, cool.
So Joe and Jerry pitched Superman to a different newspaper, and they were negotiating a deal while also creating other comics for DC, because DC wasn't doing comic strips. Again, they still want it to be a comic strip in a weekly newspaper, but the newspaper ultimately rejected Superman. However, one of the paper's employees offered to send their Superman comic to DC, and the guys were like, all right, fine, whatever. DC had created a new magazine called Action Comics. So it wasn't a recurring comic strip in a newspaper that Joe and Jerry had hoped for, But when DC asked them to develop the comic strip into a 13-page story for this new comic book, the guys reluctantly agreed. Like, they didn't want it to be in that format. That's just not how they envisioned it. But they'd been rejected over and over and over again from every single newspaper that they had pitched to for years. Like, this is going on for several years. And they were like, well, at least this way we get to see Superman in print. Like, that'll be cool. Plus, it was literally the only offer they ever got for Superman.
They were like, well, whatever. You know, we've been working on this for so long.
Exactly.
Let's just take it.
Yeah. They were paid $130 for their 13-page story.
Okay.
Which appeared in the first issue of Action Comics. Then they produced another Superman story for the second issue of Action Comics. Then a third. And by the fourth issue, kids were clamoring for it.
Wow.
It was a hit.
Instant.
And this is where the trouble started for Joe and Jerry.
No, man.
Because prior to the first issue's release, Jack Leibowitz, one of the head partners at DC, mailed the two guys a release form, which stated, quote, "It is customary for all our contributors to release all rights to us. This is the businesslike way of doing things." And he wasn't wrong. That was how it was done back then. Mm-hmm. And Joe and Jerry had signed over the rights to their other works. Why should this be any different?
Yeah.
What's different is that Superman takes off, obviously. Mm-hmm. But they were young and a little naive, and they didn't know how to negotiate for themselves. They didn't know the business, even though, like, at this point, they were kind of established with, you know, their other works. So they signed the form, transferring all rights to Superman over to DC's owners, Jack Leibowitz and Harry Donenfeld, which also meant that all future profits from syndication, radio, movies, television, merchandise, and so on went to those guys, not Jerry and Joe.
Oh, shit.
DC Comics kept Jerry and Joe on as writer and illustrator, but they were paid a small, tiny fraction of what DC was pocketing. It was still more money than they had ever seen, but it was nothing compared to what the brand was worth.
Yeah.
When Jerry was drafted into the Army in 1943, DC published a story featuring Superboy, a story Jerry had submitted years earlier, but that DC hadn't picked up at the time. So they published the story without acquiring the rights to it, without consulting Jerry. So he was furious when he found out. As soon as he was discharged from the Army, he and Joe sued DC Comics. This was the first of many lawsuits that would go on for decades.
Whoa. That was shady of them. Like, to wait till he's in the Army and then take a story that he submitted and they said no to and just publish it.
And like, you know what?
He's not here right now.
Yeah, he'll never know.
He'll never notice.
The judge ruled that DC got Superman because the guys had signed it over to them, but that Superboy belonged to Jerry. The guys settled with DC out of court. DC said, okay, we'll give you $94,000 if you give us Superboy. And $94,000, that was nothing for DC, but it was a lot to Joe and Jerry. So they agreed.
Gosh, it's too bad that there's not anybody there to help them out with this.
That's the thing.
Like an agent or a
Y'all,
manager.
you gotta read the fine print. Get yourself a lawyer. Have them go over that contract with you. You gotta make sure you know what you're signing. Because then, after they agreed to this $94,000 deal, DC fired Joe and Jerry.
Of course they would.
They were just like, thanks for all the sweet, sweet intellectual properties. See ya.
Bye. Get out of here. That's like direct retaliation.
Yeah. DC did rehire Jerry more than a decade later. And in 1965, he and Joe tried once again to regain their rights to Superman. But the court ruled in DC's favor. Jerry and Joe appealed, but the decision was upheld. Mm-hmm. And then DC fired Jerry again. They were like, sue us once, shame on you. Sue us twice, you probably shouldn't have sued us twice.
Shit.
Yeah. Eventually, DC agreed to pay the guys a yearly stipend and credit their names in all future productions if they never challenged ownership of Superman ever again. They agreed.
Okay.
But then they died. So DC had to negotiate with their heirs. They lived a long life. It's not like they died the next day. So DC had to negotiate with their heirs. I won't go into all the back and forth. Suffice to say, this led to more lawsuits and appeals. And as recently as April of this year, 2025, a court dismissed a suit brought by one of Joe's heirs, siding with DC Comics and Warner Brothers. Always read the fine print. Get a lawyer, because if you try to go up against huge companies like DC, like Warner Brothers, you're not going to win. I
was going to say that rarely, if even at all, do we hear of anybody winning lawsuits against these giant corporations.
No, a huge corporation like that against the little guy, like, psh.
I understand. Like, of course, it's they created it. They want a piece of the pie. Ethically, sure, they should be entitled to that. Mm-hmm. However, that property is now the owner, is under ownership from DC because you signed it over.
Yeah.
So, like, where is there a loophole or a chance for them to?
Well, there are copyright laws, and this is the part where I said I'm not going to get into all the back and forth. No. And I won't like, because I'm not a copyright lawyer. No. Like, I don't even understand a lot of it. I was trying to read all these things about it. There are loopholes, I will say, make a long story short. But they didn't qualify for them.
Okay. Well, and also you have to probably know that copyright at the time that they're doing the first lawsuit, and then later on, decades later with the heirs, is probably going to have changed quite a bit.
You would think that there would be more updates to copyright laws.
There's not. Never mind. I retract my statement.
It's really interesting, especially now when everything is online, everything is digital. There need to be some updates to these like outdated copyright rules, but they just haven't gotten it together.
Yeah.
So yeah, DC and Warner Brothers have a lot of money, which pays for a lot of really good lawyers, and Kirk Alyn learned that the hard way when he sued them in 1977. Kirk Alyn was the first actor to portray Superman on screen.
Oh.
In the movie serials, which consisted of 15 episodes each. We've talked about movie serials before. Yeah. Quick recap. It's like going to the movies, but they're in chapters. So like you see a few minutes of one, and then next week you come back for the next one. It's like a TV show, but movie edition.
At the movies.
Yeah. In 1977, he sued DC Comics as well as 2 movie studios for using a picture of him dressed as Superman with the words super schmuck.
What?
I couldn't find this picture, and I don't know what the context was.
Okay.
So I don't know what that was about.
That's insane.
But he lost that lawsuit.
Okay. Super schmuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, hey, that rhymed.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that was about. Prior to Superman, Kirk had performed on Broadway and in vaudeville, and he'd gotten bit parts in low-budget movies here and there, mostly uncredited. According to his obituary, in an interview he gave about getting the role, he said, quote, this is unhinged, "They brought the people from DC Comics over and they said, hey, he looks just like Clark Kent. They said, take off your shirt. So I did and flexed my muscles. Then the guy said, take off your pants. And I said, wait a minute. I was 37 when I played Superman. I picked up that girl and ran up that flight of stairs like it was nothing."
That was all one cohesive quote together? Okay.
I love it. I like that they were just like, take off your pants.
And he was like, well, did he? Whoa.
I think so.
Okay.
They probably want to see those thigh muscles. The guy's going to look in those tights. However, after portraying the Man of Steel in 2 movie serials, Kirk said he had a difficult time getting cast as anything else. He said, quote, playing Superman ruined my acting career, and I was bitter for many years about the whole thing. I couldn't get another job in Hollywood. Which isn't exactly true. Go to his IMDb page. He was a working actor through the 1980s, just before his death. So, like, I get that maybe your career stalled a little bit, or people only saw you as like an action hero. Well, that's not a bad thing to be seen as. It's interesting because, like, I do wonder sometimes when you have actors who are so closely associated with a role, and there's like a fine line, I think, between being grateful because it has propelled you into a new level of your career, but also being bitter that you can't really escape that.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, do you just continue to lean into it or do you try to get away from it?
That's
and
the
it,
thing.
It feels to me like leaning into it is what makes you more successful.
I think the same thing. I was thinking about when I wrote this, I was going to actually write those words. He should just lean into it.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like a superhero character. Like, think about how happy you can make a lot of kids. You know what I mean? And a lot of adults too.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, then go off and do something else. But apparently he didn't feel like he could ever do anything else because they only saw him as that character.
Okay. I mean, I understand. Trust me. But,
Yeah, but I'm with you. I think you just got to lean
into it.
That's where that money is. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The studio that made the serials even told him that no one would ever believe him as anything other than Superman. Which it's like, you don't know that.
You don't know that.
But that was enough to convince him to turn down the television series Adventures of Superman when it was offered to him. So the role ultimately went to George Reeves.
Wow. Kirk, my man. Keep playing Superman.
Keep going.
They like that ass. Or it's not that ass. Sorry.
Maybe they did.
Maybe they did. Drop trowel. And they were like, bam, you got the role.
You got the role, kid.
Welcome to the casting couch.
Put you in the pictures. I'm going to do a full episode on... Oh, that was so loud.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know why it clicked so loud.
I'm going to do a full episode on George Reeves, so I'm not going to go into huge detail here.
I get it.
But I'll give you the highlights.
Yes.
He was offered the role of Superman in 1951, first appearing in the film Superman and the Mole Men, which served sort of as a trial for the TV series to gauge audience interest. He didn't want the job at first because it was TV. And TV, although it was gaining in popularity, was still pretty new. Less than half of American families owned a television set. So at the time, he was just like, no one's going to see this show. Why waste my time?
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the show aired, George Reeves became a huge celebrity.
Wow.
But like Kirk Alyn, George felt like people associated him too closely with Superman that it was difficult to get cast as anything else. According to The Guardian, he began to hate the role so much that at the end of each season, he would have a ceremonious burning of his Superman costume, which I'm sure the wardrobe department just loved.
Yeah, amazing.
Let's just burn this production's costumes.
I wonder if they made him a cheapy fake one at the end just to switch out and be like, yes,
here you go.
Here it is. Burn it.
He quit after the second season to start his own production company, but the show's producers threw a big old wad of cash at him, and he was like, okay, I'll come back to the show.
All right.
The series ran through 1958. Fellow actor Ben Weldon, who frequently guest starred on the show, said the role wasn't a challenge for George, and he would say things on set like, here I am, wasting my life.
People.
Let's just take a step back. You are a working actor. You're making great money. You're a huge celebrity. I get it. I get you feel you need more creative, another creative outlet or something. But I wouldn't exactly call that wasting your life.
I wouldn't call it wasting your life either. You're making this content that is extremely popular.
Yeah.
And you're resonating with kids, with adults. That baffles me a little bit. I understand what you're saying. You want another creative outlet. But again, lean in.
Lean on in, boo-boo. But he was getting pretty depressed. He started drinking at work. He kept a bar in his dressing room, which, not bad.
Sorry.
I was with you. But it got so out of hand that sometimes they'd have to stop production.
Okay,
which
that's not good.
Time is money. You do not stop production.
You do not do that.
He'd often have guests over to his home to drink and play cards, which is what seems to have been happening on the evening of June 15th, 1959. There were a few people over, including his supposed fiancée, Lenore Lemon, but during the early morning hours, guests heard a gunshot. George Reeves was found lying sprawled out on his bed, naked. He had died from a gunshot wound to the head. He was just 45 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's young. His death was officially ruled a suicide, despite that no fingerprints were found on the gun. And the bullet that killed him was found lodged into the bedroom ceiling. So I don't know how it gets there.
Whoa.
The bullet entered his head through his right temple. So it just seems like an odd position he would have to be in order for the bullet to go up into the ceiling. I did the exact same thing you're doing now. So Kevin just like leaned over to try to see that position. When I was writing this,
awkward.
Yeah, I was like, what? How does that happen? Everyone had been drinking that night. So he had a pretty high blood alcohol content. So I don't know, I just don't know how you get into that position. But what's even more weird is that the shell casing was found underneath his body, and the gun was found between his legs on the floor, between his feet.
Weird.
Yeah. It was reportedly 30 to 45 minutes before any of those guests, including his supposed fiancée, bothered to call for help.
Wait, they waited that long to call for help?
Yes.
Okay, wow. This is crazy.
His death came just months after multiple serious car wrecks, one where his car was almost completely crushed between two trucks while he was driving on the freeway, another where he crashed into a cement pole and went through the windshield, and another where his brakes failed. And when he took the car in, the mechanic told him there was no brake fluid at all.
Okay, it sounds like maybe someone wanted to kill him.
So that's a theory. Between the accidents and the weird death scene, some suspect foul play. Prior to his relationship to Lenore, he had been carrying on a very open affair with Tony Mannix, who was married to former MGM big shot Eddie Mannix. And if you remember back to our episode on Patricia Douglas, Eddie Mannix was known as the Fixer. He was rumored to have ties to the mob. I'm going to go ahead and say, if it's rumored you have ties to the mob, you have ties to the mob.
You have ties to the mob.
Eddie knew about George and Tony's affair, though, and he didn't care. But when George ended it to get more serious with Lenore, Tony was reportedly devastated. And many believe she had her hubs Eddie over there get revenge for her. I don't know about that. It's a theory. But Lenore was also a suspect originally because she was acting weird and saying some pretty strange things around the time of George's death. Things like telling the other house guest, oh, he's probably going to shoot himself. And then after he did, she said, oh, I was only kidding.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What is happening in those 30 to 45 minutes?
Right?
That's too long. Sorry, that's too long.
One of the guests told a friend that immediately after the shot, Lenore came downstairs exclaiming, tell them I was down here. Tell them I was down here. But that's hearsay, so who knows?
Who knows what actually happened?
Like I said, I'm going to do a full episode on George Reeves.
I love that.
There are a couple of books on him I need to read first, but it's a fascinating case.
Okay.
However, the person I think the majority of people associate with Superman is Kevin.
Christopher Reeve.
You got it! You did it!
Did I get it?
You get a gold star.
I got a gold star. I finally knew something.
Well, and it shows because, like, that is the one that most people think of is Christopher Reeve.
That's who I think of immediately.
Yeah. Christopher Reeve starred in 4 Superman movies beginning in 1978. I think we might do a full episode on him, too. And I think
he's on our list. Yeah. I think.
He is? Okay.
Yeah.
And I think most people are familiar with his horseback riding accident in 1995 that left him paralyzed. He said he'd only taken up horseback riding because his career had stalled after Superman. Producers and directors only saw him as the Man of Steel. He even tried to audition for Pretty Woman, but they were like, no, go away, Superman. This ain't your movie.
For Richard Gere's role?
I would assume, yeah.
Okay.
Shortly before his accident, he was in a movie for HBO called Above Suspicion, where he played a paralyzed police officer.
Whoa.
And according to his autobiography, to research for the role, he went to a rehabilitation center to learn more about what it would be like to be a paraplegic.
Oh my God.
The film premiered, and less than a week later, he had his accident, which is like...
That's horrific.
Wild.
So is the role of, and you'll probably dive into this, but is the role of Superman considered a career killer basically in Hollywood?
That's part of the curse.
That's part of the curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when his accident occurred, he was riding in an equestrian meet. Are they called meets? An equestrian meet, an event?
I think so.
a competition thing?
Sure. Kate, I know exactly what you mean. You ride the horses around.
You ride them around.
They jump over stuff.
Yeah.
And there's all these things. I watched it when it was at the Olympics.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't go to the Olympics. Anyway, I watched it. It was very cool.
Well, it was that jumping over the things that got Christopher in trouble.
Yes, and that is not cool and very sad.
It was just a routine jump over a 1 meter tall fence, so just a little over 3 feet. I mean, he didn't think anything about this because there were much more difficult jumps on the course. This one was nothing. This one was like your most basic jump. But for whatever reason, the horse started to do the jump and then stopped. So he was like already going forward and then just stopped suddenly. And Christopher fell off, landing head first on the opposite side of the fence. His head was essentially severed from his body internally. So he was paralyzed from the neck down. Surgeons had to basically reattach his head to his body with a wire. I mean, the surgery was far more complicated than that, obviously, but yeah, it's basically wires that were holding him together.
I didn't know that part. Whoa.
An article I read in the New York Times said his situation was so dire that his mom was begging the doctors to take him off life support.
Oh, was he in a coma for all of this? Okay, I could imagine.
Like right when it happened, he stopped breathing, but they had medics there on site, so they were able to get him care like immediately.
I have to, and I hate myself for it, but Headless Horseman.
Oh.
I know. I'm sorry. I hate myself.
Okay.
Hate myself.
Yikes.
I couldn't keep it in.
I
couldn't keep it in.
I understand. No disrespect to Christopher.
No, none at all. My God. Is he still alive?
No.
No, he passed. Okay.
Christopher was also thinking of ending his life, but he credits his wife Dana with saving him when she told him, quote, "I will support you whatever you want to do because it's your life, it's your decision, but I want you to know that I'll be with you for the long haul. No matter what, you're still you, and I love you."
Oh, that's sweet.
He required round-the-clock care for the remainder of his life, with 15 nurses and aides working with him at home to dress him, bathe him, help him eat. Things we take for granted. Like, we don't even think about it.
No, 100%.
And also, like, just coming from being the Man of Steel and this, like, iconic superhero to you can't even bathe yourself. You need help to use the restroom. Like, I can't imagine. He dedicated the rest of his life towards spinal cord research, stem cell research. He was very outspoken against insurance companies limiting benefits to those who needed them most. Then in October of 2004, he was given an antibiotic for an infected bed sore. He suffered cardiac arrest and went into a coma and was pronounced dead 18 hours later at the age of 52.
Oh my God, that's awful.
There was no autopsy, but both his doctor and his wife believe he died from an adverse reaction to the drug because he'd had issues with that before.
Okay.
Again, we'll probably do a full episode on him at some point. And then, of course, if you remember back to that time, like his wife, Dana, a non-smoker, had never smoked, died of lung cancer like 9 months later. Just wild. Whoa. Christopher's last on-screen credit was in 2003 in the TV series Smallville, which was another Superman series, and included actress Allison Mack as one of its stars. And if you don't know about Allison Mack, she was one of the participants in the NXIVM sex cult who pled guilty to racketeering and racketeering conspiracy charges and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. She only served 2. Her Smallville co-star Kristen Crook also joined NXIVM, stating she thought it was a self-help group, but she left in 2014.
Yeah. The NXIVM is wild.
Basically, NXIVM was a cult started by Keith Raniere and Nancy Salzman that said, hey, we're a self-help group, but within the cult was a secret group where women were allegedly forced to have sexual relationships with Raniere. They were required to have nude photographs taken of themselves that Raniere kept for blackmail. Women like Allison Mack would recruit other women as, quote, slaves. and were involved in a lot of other crimes, including identity theft, forced labor, wire fraud, to name a few.
And the branding thing, too. That was
they had all the
insane.
women were branded with Ridier's initials, which, what? Middle-aged white men and their cults. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. It is so messed up and crazy.
It's just like, why? How are you that butthurt that you need to like start your own cult to feel powerful and to feel good about yourself? Whatever. We've covered some of the biggies that played the role of Superman and were supposedly affected by the Superman curse that doesn't exist. So now I want to talk a little bit about Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane opposite Christopher Reeve in all 4 of the Superman movies he did. And we're going to do a full episode on her too.
Margot Kidder.
A year after the first Superman movie came out, Margot married actor John Hurd. We talked a little bit about this in our Home Alone episode. They separated just 6 days later.
Yeah.
In 1988, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And 2 years later, she was in a serious car accident while filming a TV series and suffered a spinal injury, which left her partially paralyzed, which is just kind of wild that both Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder ended up with a type of paralysis. Then in 1996, she suffered a very public episode where she went missing for several days and was found in a random person's backyard living in a cardboard box in the bushes.
Oh my God.
She was covered in bruises and scratches. Her teeth were missing the caps, which she said had been knocked out when someone tried to rape her. And she had cut off all her hair with a razor blade. So she was going through it.
I would say.
I do want us to do a full episode on her. I just wanted to mention her here as part of the supposed Superman curse.
Yeah, no, of course.
And then there's Brandon Routh. He starred in the 2006 film Superman Returns.
That was my first gay date.
Okay, I figured it had to be this because the year.
Yeah, I went, the guy's name was Barry.
Barry.
And we went to Ruby Tuesdays. And then we went to see the Superman movie at Regal Cinemas. And that was the first time I ever went out with a man.
Aw. What'd you think of the movie?
I don't really remember it very well. I remember thinking, okay.
Yeah. That's kind of what a lot of people thought, too. Brandon Routh thought this was going to be huge, that it would spawn a franchise. He'd appear in several more Superman movies, but didn't happen.
Brandon Routh, does he do Hallmark now?
Sure does. The 9 Lives of Christmas, those kind of movies.
Yeah, it's always animal themed. Because he's in one that I really like where he plays a fireman.
I think that's the 9 Lives of Christmas.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think, because it's got cats in it.
Okay.
Right? Doesn't he like rescue cats?
I think so, yeah. He falls for a girl in town who works for the pet store or something.
Yes. I already hate myself for knowing as much as I do about the movie you're talking about.
Do not hate yourself, Kate. I love that one. The girl, the main character in it is hilarious. I love her.
I don't remember her.
We'll pull it up afterwards and
great.
chat about it.
I can't wait. So Brandon really struggled with the fact that this didn't take off for him, which understandable, because if you are appearing in like the first Superman movie in years and it's like such an iconic role, yeah, you think you're going to be the next Christopher Reeve or, whatever, and it just didn't happen. So to cope with his stalled career, he became addicted to the online game World of Warcraft.
I thought you were going to say to like meth or
You
something.
would think, but nope, just World of
World
Warcraft.
of Warcraft. Hey, I mean, okay, listen. Of all the things that we're going to after failures, alcohol, drugs, I mean, games, I don't know. Tell me about it.
I've played World of Warcraft.
I've never played it.
As someone who dated a guy addicted to that game, I can see why it was easy for Brandon Routh to get addicted to it.
Okay.
Like, you can get lost in that. So perhaps there is a Superman curse, but I don't believe in it. Because there are obviously plenty of actors involved in the Superman franchise who did not meet some ill fate.
No.
They've just done or said stupid things.
Yeah. Or made stupid decisions.
Henry Cavill, who played Superman in several movies, gave an interview to GQ Australia back in 2018. And the interviewer, Adam Baidawi, asked him what he's learned from the Me Too movement. This was at the height of that. And Henry said that he liked to woo and chase a woman, but said, quote, "It's very difficult to do that if there are certain rules in place, because then it's like, well, I don't want to go up and talk to her because I'm going to be called a rapist or something."
Okay, well, that was just his own stupidity. That wasn't the curse.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I don't believe
No, I
in the
know.
curse.
Exactly.
It's just people saying
People say, "Oh, it's the Superman
things.
curse," and you're like, "No, he's just an asshole."
Yeah, he did apologize after a lot of backlash.
Yeah, no shit.
And then there's Dean Cain, who played Superman on the TV series Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
Dean Cain. Okay.
The worst.
Yes, awful. There's a TV show, Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23.
Okay.
With Kristen Ritter.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a whole thing because James Vanderbeek plays himself in the series. He's hysterical. It's so funny. But he goes on Dancing with the Stars. Mm-hmm. And his rival on Dancing with the Stars is Dean Cain.
Amazing. Dean Cain just recently lashed out about the new movie, calling it too woke without even seeing it first.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I'm tired of these older boomers being like, it's woke, it's woke.
It should come as no surprise Dean Cain is a huge Trump supporter and endorsed him in 2016, 2020, and 2024. So even after Trump's first term, Dean Cain said, yeah, let's have this guy again.
Yeah.
Cain told TMZ that Fox News host Jesse Waters made, quote, great political points when he said Superman's cape should have MS-13 on it, which is the name of a foreign terrorist organization. So he thinks Superman is now a terrorist?
Superman's not even from this world. He's from planet...
You can do it.
Krypton?
Yeah, there you go.
But he's allergic to kryptonite.
Kryptonite. I love how you pronounced that.
I want to make a nightclub called Kryptonite or something, and like everything's green, and we all wear capes. And
I love that.
Eat alcoholic Spider-Man ice cream.
You do have multiple capes.
I do.
Nice. I remember years ago, and I remember this like clear as day. I was watching some late night talk show, and there was an actress on there, and I want to say it was Elisa Donovan from Clueless, but I looked it up and I couldn't find this, that went on a date with Dean Cain. And they went out to dinner, and then they went back to his home, and he made her watch episodes of Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman. I remember this interview so clearly in my mind. I can see Elisa Donovan, but then I tried to look it up. So I was going to try to find this clip.
Yeah.
Can't find anything about him going on a date with her. Can't find anything about this. And I'm like, wait, am I going crazy? Am I like, is it like what's it? The Mandela effect? The Mandela effect?
Mandela effect, yeah.
Mandela effect.
Mandela.
But like, I remember that so clearly. And I remember thinking, yeah, that seems on brand for him.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Neither would I. Director James Gunn said of the film, this new film, and this was not in response to Dean Cain. He had said this before Dean Cain made these statements. Gunn said, quote, yes, it plays differently, but it's about human kindness. And obviously there will be jerks out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it's about kindness. I'm telling a story about a guy who is uniquely good, and that feels needed now because there is a meanness that has emerged due to cultural figures being mean online. And no, I don't make films to change the world, but if a few people could be just a bit nicer after this, it would make me happy.
I like that. I really like that.
And with that, let's all just try and be a little nicer to people. And let's go see Superman and hope that David Cornsweet avoids the curse that probably doesn't exist, but might.
Let's all be let's all be our own Superman.
Yes. I don't need a superhero to rescue me because I can rescue myself.
I can rescue myself.
Bitches.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor.
I'm not gonna give up.
Amazing.
I don't know why that started playing in my head.
I loved it.
Yeah, this David Cornsweet, I saw him in Twisters.
Yeah.
Love him.
I didn't see that movie. And I didn't know who this guy was, but apparently like people are into him.
I am.
Okay.
I've been seeing, I'm on the TikTok. TikTok is all Superman right now.
I'm sure.
TikTok is also all Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah.
The trailer where Julia Gardner comes in as the Silver Surfer.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, I herald his beginning. I herald your end. I herald Galactus.
Okay.
I don't know why I wanted to say that.
So we're going to go see the movie.
Yes. Tomorrow.
We're going, which was yesterday.
Well, yesterday for the listeners, yeah.
And we're going to do our little video. I did reach out to Matt's sister, who lives in Cleveland. So shout out to Whitney and her friend Tim, because Cleveland does a huge Superman festival. They're doing it this weekend, obviously, for the movie. Or this past weekend, if you're listening to this on the release date. And they have like a ton of stuff going on. And the Cleveland Public Library has a huge Superman exhibit. So he went over there to take some pictures. So I do have a few pictures that he took, which is really cool. One of them is the desk that Jerry wrote Superman on.
Whoa.
Which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And Jerry's childhood home, which is on Kimberly Avenue, it has like a plaque out front talking about Superman. I tried to get her to swing by there. I'm not sure if she's going to be able to before we post our field trip. But I just think it's really cool. Like if you live in Cleveland and you have any interest whatsoever. I mean, I'm sure if you live in Cleveland, you've heard all of this over
Superman
and over and over.
out.
But yeah, I just thought that was like a cool thing. You can like go to the house where he came up with the idea for Superman.
That's so cool.
And I'm not even like a huge like Superman fan or like, you know, whatever, but it was really fun to research this. And especially because we're gonna go see the movie. Like the movie was shot all around Cleveland, so City Hall, which is where Whitney got married, is used, I think, as the interiors for Daily Planet, which is cool. So I have to look for that because Matt was like, watch for that because you'll see like the columns and everything, which is really fun.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of locations around Cleveland were used for
cool.
it. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that you like this. And you know what? If you hate Superman, well, then you're probably not listening to this episode. But
you're the one that's cursed.
There you go.
With bad taste.
Oh, God. Hopefully I didn't sound like I was eating Elmer's glue with my mouth open during this episode.
I did not detect a drop of glue in Kate's mouth.
But you know what? You can let me know if you heard it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify at
Horrorwood Podcast.
Or you can send us an email at
horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
Or you could be like Ken and Hannah and pop on over to Patreon at
patreon.com/horrorwoodpodcast.
And if you sign up as a Misfit Murderino by September 1st, you get a little present.
Presents. Ghostly presents.
Oh, yes. Like,
C.
I was going to say like ENC.
Yeah.
I got to get that pillow with the espresso martini.
Yes.